Hey guys, Willie and Murfitt here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another episode. Today we're working on Gareth's Mini and what I'm going to be doing is trying to modify the jig. Build series is proudly sponsored by Luntstone. Luntstone is a UK independent electrical engineering contractor delivering design, manufacturing, installation, commissioning and maintenance service expertise to a broad range of customers across the industrial, retail, educational and commercial sector. So if you want to find out more about Luntstone, please check out the website link in the description down below. Without further ado, let's get on to today's video. So I was kindly messaged on Instagram a while back from a guy building a clubman estate, and I won't mention his name, but I will leave a link description down below for his Instagram. And he's building a clubman estate. He said he's finished with the jig, and would I like it? And I was blown away. Absolutely, yeah, great, really handy. So I thought, brilliant. So I went to collect this jig, got the jig. And it's actually not the first time I'm using it. Now, it's specifically designed for a clubman estate, which turns out that the front's fine, albeit slightly longer, but the rear needs a bit of tweaking. So let's show you the front, and then we get to the rear, and I'll show you what the deal is and what we're going to try and do. So this is the front of the rollover jig, or rotisserie. So it bolts to the tower bolts. And then this plate goes underneath the bulkhead. You've got a bar from the front to a pivot, and then it's on a CV joint. I guess that's to help with the rotation. And then you've got mounts in here to hold it tight. You've also got there's a shaft in here with holes drilled in it for height adjustment, and then you've got a bar here to be able to rotate the car. That looks pretty straightforward, pretty simple. I guess for the clubman estate, you would mount this on the front. And this should be about here. So I'm probably going to look to maybe modify this slightly so I don't damage all this panel. So far it seems to be doing a good job holding it all out. Now it's mounted on the front, but the rear is a slightly different story. At the moment, the car is held on by the by some tyres. Go further back. You can see that I've got the stand for the rotisserie set up. But there's a slight predicament here by, well, I can't get the thing to fit. Now this, as I say, been made for a clubman estate, and the access to the rear is much wider. Now what I want to try and do is make this rollover rotisserie jig, however you want to call it, easily usable for multiple applications. One of which for a saloon, a pickup, a van, a estate, you know, whatever I come to look at mini-wise, I've got a piece of equipment that will be suitable for all. Now I've done a few measurements. Now the measurement for this, for the rear, I've done a measurement for this, for the rear suspension tower. Now the measurement is 41.5 inches from the outside to the outside. So what I found is a piece of scaffolding. Now, you can see here the scaffolding bar just needs chopping down ever so slightly, and that should mount into the recess of the top mounts. Now, I'm going to drill a hole through both sides so I can nut and bolt it, much like this, but rather than having a big open void, I'm going to have a bar going from left to right. I'm going to chop off these arms, and I'm going to mount them further in, and the same for here, chop off the arms and mount them further in. Now I know for this jig here there is some additional bars for it, which I can obviously modify at a later date. Now they connect to up here, and that mounts from this bar across to the top seatbelt mount, and the same for the other side. Now that's in the clubman estate to help keep it a bit longer, keep that strength there, which I'm probably going to look to try and work out a way of doing. Maybe having it adaptable for the estate or the van, but it's not quite possible to do on the saloon because of the parcel shelf and the rear seat. So the plan today is to get this jig mounted to the car and working as it should. Now I might need to get in some help from my father-in-law and brother-in-law in this project, because they are more engineer minded. Yeah, I think engineering minded is probably the best way to explain it. My father-in-law is a welder and fabricator by trade. My brother-in-law is just I don't know, he's just a bit of a genius when it comes to sorting things out, metal work and stuff like that. So I know it's not the prettiest of things, but it's been well used. It's been, you know, been used for the application that it's been designed for, and now it's sort of coming on to use on a new project like this. So yeah, that's the plan. I'm going to modify it. I'm going to have it adaptable for all variants of minis, and hopefully going forward, this jig is going to serve its purpose and serve its worth while it's here. So I need to get the boot off. Come on. So yeah, I need to take the boot off, because at the moment this is just rested onto the boot, and then it'll get me access into there. Now I also need to make sure that when I make the length, I need to make sure it's going to be suitable for a saloon and also for the estate. It's got a little bit extra boot space on the estate. It's not a huge deal, but it is enough to warrant a bit of extra length there. So I think I've got a good idea how I'm going to do it. I just need to put it into practice. So follow me today on this journey of getting this rotisserie jig suitable and working once again. Okay, so how am I going to get this to work? Now if I draw the car, like so, this is the front. It's obviously really detailed drawing, and this is going to be where the rear thing mounts to. Now at the moment I've got a bar here, a triangle section, and then this is the base for it, and it comes out like this, then mounts like this, and then goes up like so. Pretty straightforward. Now what I plan to do is, if I take off this line and this line, my plan now is to use this piece of tube, a scaffolding tube, from one side to the next. Now, where I've got this bar here, I then want to weld some brackets across. Now, I'm undecided how far across to go. Whether I go right up to the join or not, I don't know. But that is the plan. And that should work like this. I can strengthen it. Or I can leave that as a void. It's not decided yet 100%, but that's the plan. It's just going to be a case of moving the existing arms further in, and then welding in this scaffolding tube to be able to make it accessible for all minis. Hopefully that makes sense. It makes sense in my head, but then things that make sense in my head often don't make sense when they come out my mouth. So let's see how it goes. Okay, so hopefully you can see what I'm trying to achieve here. What I'm just doing is grinding a cutout for this to sit. Now, with that sitting there, I can then weld all the way around it, both sides, and then on the back side of it, if there's any excess, I can chop it off. I think this plate's going to need chopping off. The plate underneath probably doesn't need to be there, but it's not going to harm it if it is. The one over here, I made a bit of a pig's ear of, which I just need to try and rectify really. But yes, I made a bit of a hash with trying to get these level. I probably should have put them flat. I held them up and made sure that it was a nice tight right angle. Flat across here, flat across the bottom. The other side seems to be slightly higher. You can probably see from the way that the bar sits. But that could be me as well. So yeah, I think if I take a little bit more off that side, just to lower that side down, it should hopefully compensate and actually counteract, and it should hopefully work. So I'm pretty happy with how it's looking so far. I just need to try and get it all finished off and make it look a bit more presentable. But if this works, it's be great. So I think I'm going to call this a day now. Now, when you look like this, it actually looks a little bit twisted, which it kind of is. So I messed up a little bit by tacking this side. This side here is perfect. This side here, the arm goes slightly up a little bit. Now I also ground like a loop for that bar to sit in, and that sits higher that side that does that side, so it's further twisted. Now I'm going to get my father-in-law to have a quick look over this and make sure, well, basically ask for his advice and see what I think I should do. I got a feeling it's probably going to be a case of chopping these arms off and starting again. Which if that's the case, that's fine. And what I wondered about doing, possibly, would be getting some bar here and actually punching a hole into it so that pipe to sit in and make it be able to fit and weld it on. Or maybe he knows a better way of doing it, but for me, I think it looks alright. It's kind of just placed in there for now. I'm going to come back in tomorrow and I'm going to have another go at trying to get it right. I'm not going to spend too much time faffing around with this, because I actually like to get on with this car, to be honest, and get it sorted and get it gone so we can go for paint, because I'm really looking forward to seeing what the finishing article is going to be. But yeah, that's what we have so far. I'm pretty happy with it. Obviously, it can be a work in progress and continual revamp as and when I can find the time to do it. But yeah, I'm going to leave this video for now here and be back tomorrow. See you later. Alright, welcome back. So, I've had a sleep and I think I'm going to pull it all out, take the actual unit off the stand. And I think I'm going to take it down to my in-laws and get them to have a quick look at it, because while there's bits that I'm very happy with, I think in principle the idea is very good. I think in practice I think it's going to need a bit of fettling here and there. So I'll take it out and I'll show you what I mean. I won't lie, this is heavy and it's raining. Ugh. Right, now I've put it in upside down. The consensus was that I need to try and sort out what's happening with this angle, because as you can see, that end is touching the back, it's raised at the front, although this bar is flat on the floor. This end here, it's kind of low at the front and higher at the back. So what I'm going to do is, what am I going to do? I'm going to cut this one here off, because you can see it's going downhill. I'm going to cut it off, I'm going to re-weld it on, I'm going to tack it in place, and then what's going to happen is, once it's all done, I'm going to take it back to my father-in-law, who's going to stick weld it all. He says stick welding leaves far less dry joints, and yeah, go from there. In fact, no, that side's going to come off, because this side here has a nice semicircle. And he said you can use that stuff, it's fine. He said he may have to put a bit of metal inside to fill the gap, or maybe even just fill it with welds, but either way, he's pretty confident that is going to be absolutely fine to use, and it'll be you know, do a great job. So yeah, that side's coming off, and then I'm going to make sure it's nice and flat, re-weld it on, even have like a spirit level across to make sure it's level across, and yes, job done, hopefully. Okay, so the Jig Mark II. I've cut off this panel, re-welded it on, and it's looking much better. So that's a lot straighter. It's obviously flat across the board, and I've cut off the plates as well that are underneath, so you can see a bit more at the back. All I need now, drill a hole there, hole over there, fully weld this up, which is going to get stick welded, and job done. Super pleased. Well, I'm back in the garage. It's cold today, so the jig has all been welded up. It's all been stick welded, and that's really nice actually to watch. Just so sort of smooth and precise. So he's added some extra strength into here and onto the other side as well. Welded down to the pipes, welded around the back, so it's all now fully welded. I just need to drill some holes and get it mounted up. So I'm going to opt for, where's it gone? Here. This is a 8mm bolt. That's going to go through the bottom using these 3 washers. You go up, through this mounting plate, out through the other end, and or through the pole, sorry, and be bolted down using nut nuts. So that should hopefully be pretty good. So let's get those drilled out and see how we get on. I think we are there. So the cross members attached, and I've got a panel that goes from here down to the steering rack, which doesn't quite line up, so I need to just try and modify that down there a little bit, which shouldn't be too hard. Just going to weld on a bracket, drill some holes, job done. And then at the back we are fully fitted and fully welded. So I guess it's the time of the day to give it a spin and see what happens. So I'm just going to mark something up here so I can tack a bracket on there, drill the holes, and away we go, ready to weld. And yeah, it should be pretty straightforward, hopefully. Right, okay, so I've got you attached to my top. Let's see what happens, because I think we are there or thereabouts. The rear jig is ready and attached, the front jig is ready and attached. I've just sorted the cross member bar, or like a strut, and yeah, there's no floor or anything been cut out yet, so it should be pretty straight. I'm going to get a jig for the inside of the car from a friend of mine next week. And moment of truth, eh? Let's get these tyres from underneath and see what happens. Don't know how I feel about that. Let's jack the rear floor up and see how we get on when we remove those tyres. The Mini is now on its side, and I'm a little bit scared to go all the way over for the time being. I managed to strengthen this up somewhat, because it's just sort of flexing on the suspension towers. But it's pretty solid. But what it gives me access to is to see right under here, and actually give it a full inspection and see what's what. So one of the things we had in this car was it was fitted with overseals. So the seals are welded all the way down here, and on the inside it's kind of rotted from the inside out, which isn't good in any way, shape or form. Maybe bigger washers are probably required as well for that. So I'll look at what's what. Rear valance, rotten. But basically, we are where we are. I could do it probably raising the height of the jig up a little bit, so that this pin is a little bit higher. So when it goes over the top, it's not going to hit the roof. I don't think it will. But the problem is, if it does start going and it starts going over the top, there's no way for me to stop that, which is could potentially be a bit of a bummer, because I can't do it on my own. So yes, the jig is working. It is very, very heavy to operate, but we're on the side, so it's going to help life, or make life so much easier for doing the floors, the toe board, and a few other bits and pieces. So apart from a few little tweaks here and there, I'm pretty sure it's safe to say that we are done with this episode. The jig is made. The jig is in pretty good condition. There's a couple of tweaks as say needs doing here and there, but overall I'm really, really happy with the way this has turned out. And yeah, massive thanks again to Chris. And again, I'll link his Instagram down below. He has kindly donated this jig to me, and now I've modified it slightly to fit the saloon. And all being well, when it goes upside down, it'll make life a lot easier again. So the plan is to replace the floor, cut the floor on its side, rotate it, cut the floor on the other side, and then put it on upside down, put the floor on completely, and then I can weld it up. So yes, thank you very much for watching. In the next episode, we're going to go over the floor and the rest of the car and actually see what's what and what's needed to do the work-wise. But for now, I'm pretty happy. So I'll leave us here and I'll say thank you very much for watching. If you have enjoyed the content, please give it a thumbs up button, comment down below, and if you are new around here, haven't done so already, please consider hitting that subscribe button as well. So That's it from me, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take it easy.